Something like that. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Neil, and I decided to come to the US based on a BuzzFeed article which said that the highest paying profession in the US is that of a psychologist. So I studied human behavior at SE. A lot of you know that I'm sitting here on top and applying to a lot of jobs, which should be enough indication for you to not use BuzzFeed to make life decisions. Well, I got accepted to USC, which automatically means I hate UCLA. And I think it's one of those things about grad students who come from other countries. I don't know if you realize it, but for me, I don't understand sarcasm, or as Tanal says, facetiousness. Yeah. So I've always been very passionate about USC, which means I really hate UCLA. I mean, I hate UCLA so much that I don't even know why I hate them so much. So there was this time I was at a party, and it was one of my first ever frat parties. I've only seen this in the movies, and my entire idea of the US is from movies, TV shows, How I Met Your Mother, Friends. Which is why when I came here, I kept telling everyone, hey, how you doing? Yeah, it didn't really work, as you can see. So I was telling you about, I was at this party, and I met this girl from UCLA. She was very nice, and so we were like, hey, how you doing? How you doing? And we started talking. And all of a sudden, I was like, so what do you do? Oh, she said, I go to UCLA. What? Oh, you go to UCLA, huh? And I walked off. So there was another friend of mine who was watching this, and he comes up to me, you realize she was into you, right? I'm like, so? She goes to UCLA. Do you realize that not everybody is as passionate about this article? Nobody really cares. It's like a pseudo-hate. I'm like, what's that? You hate them, but you don't really hate them. You just hate them as a collective mass. You don't hate them as individuals. Oh, well, there was an opportunity blown, and I think some opportunities which you blow, you just never get back. Yeah, that was terrible. But USC, one of the first things that comes to my mind about USC is the football games. And when I first heard of football, I was extremely excited because I love soccer. And Americans don't have the same understanding of the word football as we do. So when I went to my first football game, I was extremely excited. And then I see like more than 11 people coming from one side. I was like, that's not really how we do it. But fight on. So the game starts, and then obviously I figure out this has nothing to do with football. It's another game. Then I saw this egg-like thing being thrown around. One of my first games, they were like, I think I went to a bunch of people from the Catholic Center, so they were super nice. Like, they stopped watching the game, they were explaining it to me. And all I knew was the time you in soccer you have a goal and you, what? The same thing you do here when they have something called a touchdown. So touchdown, you don't know when a touchdown is, but if you see the ball at the end corner, it's very possibly a touchdown. So, I mean, like I said, it was not my first time ever. And I see, I'm not really great at distinguishing the color. I mean, it's obvious red and some white, but you never know which team is doing it. And there was this guy, he grabs a pass and he just runs in, touchdown. What? Touchdown! And I'm in the student section. I mean, when people who sat down and hear crickets, this was the equivalent of that there. And I was the only one. Yeah, it was the opponents who scored a touchdown. And I was like, I'll try and go about it. Well, there's things that you learn, and it's one of the things that I learned. Never cheer when an opponent scores a touchdown. Yeah, so, well, as most of you know, I'm from India. So I used to work at the credit union, and I used to work at the 4th floor. So, and the ground floor where actually we do the banking stuff, and the top floor is mainly we do marketing, that kind of stuff. So I used to do marketing. And since I'm Indian, most people tend to think that I have something to do with computers, and I'm inherently into it, which I'm not. So one day I come to the ground floor. The ground floor is managed by this amazing guy. His name is Mike. Mike is really tall. He looks very much like Alex. And Mike comes up to me, and I've met Mike like 5 to 10 times before. So I don't know him, but we know each other. You know what I mean? Like a lot of you here, we know who you are, but we just don't know you, close enough personally. So Mike knows who I am, and I know who he is. And it was one of the most awkward conversations I've had. Mike is walking around, I'm like, hi Mike, how are you doing? He's like, hi Neil, how are you doing? I'm great. And then for a moment, Mike hesitates. And then Mike looks at me. You know what? That's the one. I'm like, oh, okay. That's the company that we've been having issues with. Now, I don't want to be offensive. I don't want to be rude. I want to be as nice as possible. And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. Let me take a look at it. I restarted the computer, which is pretty difficult because it was kind of in a box and all that. So I restarted it. It's still not working. And I don't want to disappoint him, but so, Mike, did you raise a ticket? Oh yeah, I did. He didn't say this, but he implied this. Is that not why you're here? But he didn't say it. I'm like, okay, now that you've raised a ticket, somebody from IT will come and fix it. I mean, we both knew what transpired there. Because next moment, Mike is like, oh yeah, of course. I totally get it. Somebody from IT will come. And there was a pause for a minute, and I'm like, you realize I'm in marketing. I have nothing to do with IT, right? Of course I do. Mike never spoke to me ever. So next week, we have this Indian holiday called Diwali coming up. And Diwali is the festival of lights. I'm kind of hosting it for the Indian students. So I'm very excited. I've been writing a lot of jokes, and I've been coming to, not now, Mom. So I've been picking up a lot of you and telling you jokes. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. But I think the US, as a culture in general, people are obsessed with being politically correct. Like some of the jokes that I wrote, I thought were very funny. But they're like, that's not funny. I'm like, then what? That's dark humor. Really? Because, for example, there is this Indian demon king. His name is Ravan. Now he's a bad person. Bad people do bad things. So, how would Ravan burn calories?
Going for a 10-mile run.
By throwing fat kids in the fire. That is a very dark joke. Is it? Yes? No? It's a dark joke, right? Okay, I'm not going to use that as a main event. Thank you. I learned it. Well, there was another one, but I don't think this is as dark as that. But just to get your opinion. So I went to this hospital, and there was this really cute girl who was standing there, and her leg was in a cast, because I think she broke it. I don't know if it's creepy, but the first thought that came to my head, at least she can't run away. That is definitely dark. Talking of hospitals,
No.
in India, healthcare is extremely inexpensive. Like I can go to my dentist and like get a lot of my dental work done for like $100. I could get like any dental work I wanted for $100. So then I come here and I see my teeth are not pearly white anymore. I go to the dentist at USC and I'm like, doc, I would like to get all this cleaned up. I'd like to remove that pale yellow and get it back to pearly white again. And he's like, yeah, sure, let me take a look. And he takes a look. And he does something which we never do in India. He gave me an estimate of the cost. I look at the cost, and I'm like, you know what? Brown ties. Brown ties go very well with yellow teeth. I think the healthcare here is so expensive. Also, another of those dark jokes. I'm not gonna go there again. I always thought like it would be really cool to make fun of Jewish people. And then I realized you should never do that because I'm not Jewish. Okay. Well, like a friend of mine used to tell me, jokes are like Oscar nominees. Not everyone is a winner. Neither was this one. Is that the sound? I'm slowly getting it.
It's like, yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I just have to keep going back to this because I'm really nervous. Okay, this possibly is my last joke. I hope it's half as funny. You guys heard of pickup lines? Yeah, so when I came from India for the first time, I'd never heard pickup lines before in my life. And so there was this girl who was sitting with me in class. Obviously, when you're in class and you're bored, you start talking stuff. And she's like, Neil, have you heard of pickup lines? I'm like, no. And she tells me a pickup line. I'm like, this is the most awesome thing in the world. Imagine you can just talk to a random stranger and be like, hey, did it hurt? Like, no, I'm serious. Did it hurt? Like when you fell from heaven? It's still not funny, but every time I just find it so funny. It's like, well, I don't have a big love of singers, people who sing. And I was telling that to Tona, and I think that's because I have a feeling I'm jealous of them. Because when I was in about high school, I used to be like a pretty decent singer, and I had a girlfriend, which is almost like an achievement for a guy like me who's an engineer. For a guy. I mean, I'm like one of the coolest guys in school, just saying. So there were like about 1,100 kids sitting up there, and I go and I tell my girlfriend, I'm like, you know what, this song, I'm dedicating this to you, just saying. And I go up on stage. I really shouldn't have done that, but I did. And I don't know if you guys have heard of the song called When You Say Nothing at All by Roman Keating. It's a great song, it's a great song. Yeah, this is exactly what happened. Ta-da, the song goes on and you say it best when you say nothing at all. Yeah, she heard that. Not just her, the entire school heard that. That's like one of the fastest way to destroy the amount of cool you have in school. At the end of the performance, she comes up to me. Neil, I know you love me and all that. Never sing for me again. That's it, everyone. Thank you. Have a good night.